And our special guest tonight, Michael Cremo. We'll be back with Michael in a moment. Some of the things that he has written about in his first book, Forbidden Archaeology, absolutely stunning. We'll talk about that and human devolution on Coast to Coast AM. Next hour, we'll open up the phone lines with our guest, Michael Cremo. Michael, where do you think we came from?
Well, to put it very simply, we did not come up from matter on this planet, as most scientists now tell us. Rather, we've come from a higher level of the cosmos, a level dominated by pure consciousness or spirit.
Or one would say God?
Yes, I think if we actually look at consciousness, say I'm conscious, you're conscious, every one of our listeners out there is conscious, otherwise we wouldn't be in this position. So one thing we notice about consciousness, it's individual, it's personal. Each of us has our own personal consciousness. And to me that suggests that the source of all conscious beings is also individual and personal. Now, you can call that God if you like. And it seems to me what's really happened is if we give up our connection with the source of all conscious beings, then we've got to have some place to go. And here, where we are now, that's the place. This is the place for us to act out our fantasies that we ourselves are gods, that we ourselves are meant to control and dominate everything. And that's why you see so much competition in the world. You've got so many people thinking that they are number one, either individually or collectively, and it breeds a lot of conflict in the world, as we see.
And a lot of greed and everything else.
Absolutely.
Do you believe that there's extraterrestrial life that has gone through then this same kind of devolution as we have, which means then that they didn't come from matter, they came from this spiritual or other realm?
Here's how I think it works. There is that topmost level of pure consciousness or spirit, and it's possible for all conscious selves to remain there if they want to. However, each conscious self has free will. If it misuses its free will, it descends into the lower levels of the cosmos. Now, some conscious selves, some spirits, they may descend to the level of what I call the mind element. And there, the conscious self may become covered by the subtle mental energies, and such conscious selves may exist on that level as astral beings, angels, gods, goddesses, whatever. As I said, people down through history have had different names for these types of beings, and I think they also are reflected in the modern UFO alien abduction phenomenon, because you've got two groups of researchers in that field. One tends to think that they are simply beings like us, material beings making use of material spacecraft, from some other place on our level of the cosmos. However, there's another group of researchers, an example being John Mack, the psychiatrist from Harvard University.
God rest his soul.
Right. I actually met him at a crop circle conference in England the same year that he left this world as a result of that horrible accident or whatever that happened.
Yeah, he got hit by some drunk driver or something.
Right.
Supposedly.
So he had heard about this alien abduction phenomenon, and he began investigating it. as a psychiatrist, and he found the people that were reporting these things, they weren't insane, they weren't neurotic or psychotic, they were perfectly normal human beings who were displaying the same sorts of symptoms that, say, soldiers who had been involved in a battle, or humans that had, ordinary people who had been involved in some crime, had been attacked or something. In other words, they were displaying post-traumatic stress symptoms. And he determined, well, the phenomenon appears to be genuine, and that got him in a lot of trouble with his colleagues at Harvard who tried to get him removed from his position. They convened an academic court to try to have him removed, but he successfully fought that. And in his book, Passport to the Cosmos, he said it appears ever more likely that we exist in a multi-level cosmos, inhabited by different sorts of beings existing on the different levels, which I agree with 100%. That's exactly what I'm saying. And he himself admitted it's not an idea that's an original with him or me or anybody else. It's the common heritage of humankind, down through history. That's the picture of reality that we have. So there are these beings that exist on that level. It's possible to come down to the further level that we now exist in, the level of the grosser material elements, where we have a covering not only of mind but of matter. So if we want to ask the question, well, where did we all come from? Well, I think we all came from that topmost level of pure consciousness or spirit, and according to our different destinies and desires, we've come down to different levels. So, as I said, there are some souls who are existing at that level of the subtle mental energies, and there are some of us who have come down to this level of gross matter. But it's possible to reverse the process. There's a process of spiritual re-evolution, and I think every tradition has some kind of process of prayer, meditation, or yoga that is meant to help us do that, restore consciousness to its original pure state. And here I'm not talking about the more external forms of religion, which can be such a source of conflict,
Absolutely.
as we see in our world today.
They really can convolute everything.
I know, but I'm talking about something else. I'm talking about spiritual technologies, just like a geologist can tell us how to extract the pure element gold from its ore where it may be mixed with less valuable elements. Now, once you've got the gold, you could form it into coins, and you could stamp the coins with the symbols of different nations. But if it's really gold, it doesn't matter what symbol you've stamped on it. And I think it's the same with these spiritual practices. If you're actually able to extract the pure element of consciousness or spirit from its covering elements, then I think it doesn't matter what you label it. You could call it Hinduism or Judaism or Christianity or Islam or Native American or Australian Aboriginal. It doesn't matter what label you put on it. If you're actually able to come to that platform where you see, I am a spiritual being, everyone else is also a spiritual being, we're all from the same source. There's no reason for any of us to be fighting over matter. I mean, I think it's the fundamental problem that we face in this world today, that you've got two kinds of people. You've got one type of person who is striving to realize the self within and its connection with the source of all conscious beings, and being able to recognize every other human being, not just even every other human being, but every other living thing.
And I would say most of those are listening to this program today.
I would think so, and I think it's very fortunate. But then there's the other kind of person that wants to focus not on the commonalities, but on the divisions. And we can see what they're prepared to do, on the basis of those perceived differences and divisions. So I think we've each got to decide, where we're going to put ourselves.